Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the YouTube show Tuesday Night Trek. Its mission, to catalog every piece of Star Trek media, to keep alive the spirit of Gene Roddenberry, to boldly go where no YouTube show has gone before. Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel where the Force is family. I am Master Paul, and of course we're back with Tuesday Night Trek. And as you can see, I'm flying this one solo tonight, but I did invite, of course, all the regulars have the invitation, and there is a special guest that did express interest. Just a matter of whether or not he was available, so hopefully he'll show up too. But anyways, we are back tonight. I decided to continue with Deep Space Nine instead of going straight into Insurrection for a couple reasons. A, I really wanted to get back into Deep Space Nine, especially hearing how good Season 2 onward was. And B, I've heard that Insurrection, according to Crit and Phil and all them, I've heard that Insurrection is one of the worst Star Trek movies of all time. And so I decided, you know what? I'm in no hurry to watch it. Let's just watch through some more Deep Space Nine. So that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So this is a bit of an interesting block. I know the title says that we're talking about the first 5 episodes, and we are. But the first 3 of those 5 episodes are actually 3 parts of one story, and I've kind of combined them into one for the sake of this discussion, and that is Homecoming, Circle, and the Siege. Those are the first 3 episodes that make up one big episode, and then there's Invasive Procedures, and then Cardassians. So overall, I think this was a very good, strong opening to Season 2. And I really liked just how, especially in those first 3 episodes, I liked how they showed how basically fragile Bajor is, especially politically, because they're independent again. The Cardassians aren't occupying them, but there's still a lot of rebuilding that needs to do, and even a year into Sisko's time there, it's still far from perfect. So let's get a little bit further into that with talking about the Homecoming. So, like I said, this is the episode where there's this terrorist group running around Bajor that call themselves the Circle, and their main manifesto, I guess you could say, is Bajor for Bajorans only. So this is a faction that hates both the Cardassians and the Federation. And they're scheming in secret to basically get the Federation out of Deep Space Nine. And the plot goes really, really deep, to the point that really it's the Cardassians that are scheming this whole thing, unbeknownst to those that are within the Circle. And basically, the Cardassians are playing from the shadows this little struggle between the provisional government and the Circle, so that if the provisional government falls, the Cardassians can come back in and take over Bajor again. So this is very much I would say that this is mostly a Major Kira and Commander Sisko focused episode. Like the two of them, especially Kira. Like, if anything, I'd say this is more of a Kira story than it is a excuse me, than it is a Cisco story. But Cisco does have a big portion in this where he is working through his back channels to find out what's going on. And of course, Kira is learning everything she can, of course, from Bajor itself. And come to find out that at least as she's known now, Vedic Win is in league with the Circle too, because we already know that Vedic Win chooses to practice a more orthodox version of the Bajoran religion, worshiping the prophets. And the leader, Jaro, of the Circle, who's positioning himself to be, I guess you could say, the next president or whatever the term is of Bajor, he's the leader of the Circle. And the two of them are working together to basically remake Bajor in their own image. And this episode, again, just shows how much of a slime ball Vedic Win, or as she's later going to become known, Kai Win, just how much of a slime ball she is. And again, I just got to give mad props to Miss Louise Fletcher, the actress that plays Kai Win. She does an amazing job of literally portraying the holier than thou priest that in their mind can do no wrong, even though they're trampling on anything and everything to get what they want. So basically, this episode was amazing. Well, I say this episode, but it's really 3 episodes. I'll definitely say that as the episodes continued, they just got better from there. Like, the first one was okay in its own right, and I liked the little bit of banter between Quark and Odo that this episode started with, where Odo's like, "You know what? You told me about this one ship that was coming in, and I investigated it, and you were right about what you had found." And Quark was rubbing it in, but Odo was like, "Why would you do this, though? I still don't trust you." And we learn rule number 76 of the Ferengi rules of acquisition. Sometimes declare peace because it confuses the heck out of your enemies. But ultimately, of course, the Circle is taken down, both thanks to the efforts of Kira and Cisco, as well as another Bajoran named Lee Nallis, that episode 1 is mostly about rescuing him from a Cardassian labor camp. And of course, Kira and O'Brien were successful at doing that. So it does a great job of portraying how fractured a government that had just been liberated from occupation can be. And I think that's what I liked the best about this episode, as well as just, seeing more of Avery Brooks being Cisco and, all the rest of the characters. So I give these 3 episodes as a whole, I'm going to give them a good 4.5 out of 5. And of course, hello in the chat to DJ Ronnie G. Thanks for joining. So the next episode, this is going to probably be a bit of a shorter stream tonight, is Invasive Procedures. And so what this episode is about, and this is a really interesting one, DJ Ronnie G says, "This was the first time I didn't skip the latter half of season 1. Awesome." So we learn more, of course, about, well, I take it back. We do, but also not as much, learn more about Trill Society in this episode, thanks to, of course, Jadzia, where there is this one Trill man, I believe his name is Vardic, who comes aboard Deep Space Nine while only a skeleton crew is left working there. due to this weird space ion storm, something or other, that's affecting the area around the station. He, two Klingons, and another woman infiltrate the station and take everyone hostage with the goal of stealing the Dax symbiote from out of Jadzia and taking it into himself for himself. His reasoning being that he was supposed to be the one that the Dax symbiote was to go to after Curzon Dax. But he was rejected, despite the fact that, at least according to him, he was the most compatible, which really fascinates me. You have this guy who is supposedly sharing all of the same interests. By the way, hello to Resolute Rebellion. Thanks for joining. You have this guy that supposedly shares a lot of similar beliefs and opinions as the Dax symbiote, and yet he was deemed incompatible. And yet Jadzia was deemed compatible. And I can't help but wonder whether or not that's because for lack of a better term, board, like the council, whoever it is that decides on who gets to become joined as a Trill, I wonder if it's because they saw that flaw in Verdict's character and yet saw that Jadzia, by all accounts, was a good person. And so that's why she was chosen. Let me just double check real quick. I want to make sure I'm not getting this wrong. Okay, so first off, I was wrong. His name is Varad. And basically he was preparing for an entire lifetime. Resolute Rebellion says, always thought it was like a psych eval type of thing. It probably was. I'm sure there was some mental testing they did, some physical testing. I'm sure they examined this guy every which way to Sunday. Now let me see what Memory Alpha says about why he was rejected. Okay, no, it doesn't say. It just says Varad had spent years trying to qualify for symbiosis and bitterly resented being deprived of his ambition. So let's look at symbiosis in general and see what some of the requirements are. So let's see. Joining. Okay. So I'm going to bring up this on screen real quick. On average, only 300 symbionts were available for hosting each year, and about 1,000 trills apply for joining. Because there were many more humanoid trills than symbionts, prospective hosts were weeded out by a demanding selection procedure overseen by the Symbiosis Commission. The competition for the few symbionts was fierce and attracted the brightest and most highly motivated of Trill society. Often the would-be hosts excelled in their chosen fields, and it was not uncommon for them to hold several degrees or distinctions prior to joining. Prospective hosts may eventually become initiates under the supervision of a field docent, a joined Trill who evaluates the prospective host's suitability for joining and makes a recommendation to the commission. A negative recommendation usually meant the initiate was cut from the joining program. Common belief in Trill society holds that only 1 in 1,000 Trills make acceptable hosts. In fact, this figure was vastly understated, and nearly half of the Trill population was being capable of joined. The myth was perpetrated very carefully, though, in order to avoid widespread chaos, which would probably arise if the information were made public, since the symbionts would become essentially objects to be fought over as people fought to gain the few prized symbionts. So it doesn't say. Well, let's look at the Symbiosis Commission. Maybe this will give us some insight into what disqualifies someone. Okay, so we learned that Curzon Dax was a member of the Symbiosis Commission. I feel like I'm spoiling myself on this. Oh well. Yeah, it doesn't say what disqualifies someone. It doesn't say what disqualifies someone for whether or not they get to be joined as a Trill. And real quick, Crit says, "Hey Paul, good few episodes here. Could not make it, busy tonight." All right, thank you for letting me know. Resolute says, "Figured it also included if the personalities complemented the host or had something new as far as traits to offer an enticing join." That could be. But anyways, getting back to specifically this episode, we also learn that if a symbiote is taken away from a Trill that had joined with them, they die in a matter of hours. So everyone on Deep Space Nine is held hostage, and Verdun wants the Trill, wants the symbiote. And so Jadzia is like, "Okay, fine. I will give it up to you. I will sacrifice myself so that no one else gets hurt." Because by this point, O'Brien had gotten a pretty nasty shot from a phaser in his shoulder. So Resolute says this is similar to the Stargate symbiosis. I'm not familiar with Stargate, so I'll have to take your word for it. But what happens? Okay, forgive me. I know I keep getting this guy's name wrong. And I'm embarrassed by it. Varad. Why do I keep saying Verdan or Verdun? It's Varad. So Varad Dax, when he becomes that and he's joined, still, he comes across as pleasant to Cisco, because he remembers his life both as Jadzia and as Curzon. And yet there's still that antagonistic quality to Varad. And yes, I did just have to peek at that again. And I liked how they kind of made it obvious which side of Varad was talking, whether it was him or whether it was the Dax symbiote. Because yes, the Dax symbiote still talked pleasantly to Cisco, and yet there was still Varad's, I guess you could say, toxic ambition that didn't want to give up on his plan. And for a time, that almost made Cisco, or actually no, it did make him, because he said it. For a time, that was the end of their friendship. And of course, Varad tried to justify it, saying, "Oh yeah, Jadzia might die, but Dax will still be alive in here." But Cisco, of course, had grown to care for Jadzia and didn't want anything to happen to her. So by the end of it, Varad is taken down after his girlfriend, by the way, realizes just how much of a slimeball he really is, and the fact that he was lying to her. And Dax is returned, of course, to Jadzia, and everything is okay again. Although I do gotta wonder, my phone went off there for a second. I do gotta wonder, did Varad die? Because again, it said that if you take a trill symbiote from outside the person, they die within a matter of hours. And I get it that Varad and the Dax symbiote hadn't fully joined yet, but does that mean that he died, or did he manage to get out of that one unscathed? And by the way, hello to the Nerdporeal Lifeform, who says season 2 is very good. Opens with the Bajoran 3-parter. Yes, that was very good. And the action at the end of that 3-parter, that little, I guess you could say, guerrilla warfare that they were doing inside the station, where they were dropping smoke bombs, and of course you have Cisco ducking out from behind cover to shoot his phaser. I loved all that stuff. That was great. Not to mention the political intrigue to it. So this episode, Invasive Procedures, I give this I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5. And I'm gonna retroactively give the 3-parter as a whole a 4.5 out of 5. Nerdporeal says, let's just say the Bajorans are nothing compared to a future threat. I see. And by the way, Nerdporeal, if you're interested in joining me, I'm going to be sending you the link to the StreamYard on Twitter. Nerdporeal says, Invasive Procedures was one of the few episodes where you dislike Quark for causing the problem. That is true, because, yeah, Quark was the one that let them in just for some money. Huh. Resolute says, I don't think he did, because they weren't completely joined, and he had his immune system still. I think the symbiote provides that after joining. So what does that mean? That you're a humanoid Trill, and you get joined with a symbiote. Does that mean that by the time the bonding process is complete, you no longer have your own immune system? You have the symbiotes, and it shuts itself off or something? Because I know that in that one episode, shoot, I forget what it's called, but it's the episode in The Next Generation when the Trill are first introduced and have that weird forehead stuff going on. That the concept of the symbiote was introduced, and the host died, and Riker had to take the host inside of him so that super fragile negotiation could happen. And it nearly killed Riker because his immune system couldn't take it. So I wonder if there's a connection to that. But let's move on now to Cardassians. So this episode was another good one, and this was definitely another thinker of an episode. Truthfully, for me at least, if something had to come in last place this block, it'd probably be this one. Because I don't know, I honestly can't even put my finger on why. It's just, I don't hate it. I liked all of them, but this is kind of the one that just does the least for me, because I guess it's just... Actually, no, I think I do know why. So, in order to explain, let's explain what this episode is about. So this episode, we see some more interactions with Dr. Bashir, who was amazing, by the way, in this episode. And of course, plain and simple Garrick, who, by the way, a couple weeks ago, I watched go toe-to-toe with Clint Eastwood in the first Dirty Harry movie, which was amazing. But anyways, one with the Cardassian boy who hates his own sounds very relevant to a certain group of people of a particular political leaning. I won't say who. I believe you. So, yeah, there's this Cardassian boy. His name's Rugal. And he is, he's an orphan. And Nerdporial says, I may or may not know somebody who did a Dirty Harry retrospective. Yes, subscribe to the Nerdporial Lifeform so that you can see all of his retrospectives. But anyways, this Cardassian boy named Rugal is an orphan that was left behind when the Cardassians left Bajor after the occupation was over. And he got taken in by a family of Bajorans and was basically raised to be Bajoran, including, wearing the earring that all Bajorans wear and learning to worship the prophets. And come to find out, he's not actually an orphan. He was taken there by Gul Dukat as basically a way to stab in the back Gul Dukat's political nemesis. And, of course, his political nemesis, who I can't even begin to remember his name, so I'm not even going to try. Nerdporial says, Dukat is a slimy jerk in this one, a political move against the boy's biological father. Yes, absolutely. And again, Mark Alimo played the role perfectly. Mary Lanning, of course, is here. What's up? So basically, it's a big custody battle as far as should Rugal stay on Bajor with his adoptive parents, or should he go back to Cardassia with his biological father? And ultimately, it is decided that he goes back. But it is revealed, like I said, that this is all a big ploy by Gul Dukat to tarnish the legacy, or the reputation, rather, of his political rival. And this is all found out by Dr. Bashir and Garrick, who, like I said, Dr. Bashir was great in this episode, especially his interactions with Garrick. But at the same time, Garrick himself was just mwah, just perfect. Like, he's probably I can't think of a single character that gives so many different non-answers to any question given to him, where at least where he can give the non-answers. And yet he does it in such an endearing and charismatic way that you just kind of go along with it. And Nerdporial says, oh wait, Garrick gets even better. Oh, I'm sure. So yeah, this episode, I don't know, man. The more I think about it, it feels kind of unfair to put this one in last place for this week. Like, honestly, I'd rank this another 4 out of 5. But I guess I just happen to, I guess just the Bajoran 3-parter and Invasive Procedures appealed to my taste just a little bit more. That's the best way that I can put that. He says, if he's in an episode, you know it's going to be good and entertaining. And Nerdporial says, Deep Space Nine gets even better. I'm certainly looking forward to it. So that's the end of the block, and we've barely went a half hour. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go ahead and end the stream here. I'm going to take a minute to run downstairs and get something to drink because I'm a little bit parched. And then we're going to go over to the gaming channel and we're going to play some more Persona 5 Royal. So I hope you guys are willing to join me over there. This time I will be in the Discord and anyone can pop in that wants to talk with me. So we're going to go ahead and get that underway. We're going to wrap this stream up here. So in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And just remember, everyone, the Force is family. Oh, hold on a second. Nick from Echo Base Network is about to come in. That's okay, Nick. Come on in. I can extend this. I can extend the stream for you. I am, though, going to run downstairs and get something to drink. So I'm going to play the little 30-second countdown that StreamYard has. I'll be right back. And right in time. Whoop, almost missed my chair. All right. Let's see. So, Nick, we can extend the stream if you still want to come on in. So we'll give him a minute. I was rushing to try and beat that 30-second counter. I've made it sometimes and missed it others. I am going to step up for a second, though, and turn on my AC unit. All right. So let's see. While we're waiting for Nick to pop in, let me just message him real quick. Oh, speak of the devil, there he is. Hey, Nick, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Hang on, I'm doing this on a different account, so I don't have my EBN stuff on here at all.
I gotcha.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool deal. Yeah, I was tied up with work crap, and right when I got finished up, I checked Twitter and checked to make sure you were still live, and then you were saying you were getting ready to end it. I was like,
it's all right,
I was just getting ready to come in.
For you, I'll keep the stream going.
Yeah, so,
of course,
so you watch. Oh, hey, what's up, Mary? I can't see the. Oh wait, I just went on comments. I can see the chat now. So you watched what, the first 5 episodes?
Yes. So those are the 3-parter at the beginning, which is Homecoming, Circle and Siege, Invasive Procedures, and Cardassians.
Yeah. Garrick, you won't see a whole lot of him in the first 2 seasons, but he plays a big role later on, and he is in quite a few episodes.
Okay.
Later on. But yeah, 7 seasons, and it's my favorite Trek. I'm glad you're watching it. Picard season 3 got Coach back on board on watching it, so we're a little past halfway through season 2, but what we decided to do is we are not going to record and drop every single episode because there's 7 seasons and there's 26 episodes per season, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just going to take way too long. So I found a Reddit post that has the Dominion War binge viewing experience. So we are only going to record those episodes, and he's gonna binge watch all the ones in between, just at home in his free time, just laying on the couch or whatever.
Okay.
So, are you watching Picard season 3?
I am not.
Okay. Season 1 was terrible. I skipped out on season 2, and everybody that I trust said it was even worse than season 1.
I've heard.
But season 3 is actually pretty good.
Nice.
If you would have told me a couple months ago that I would like Picard season 3 more than Mando season 3, I would have told you you're crazy.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you on Mando season 3. Like, I'll be honest, I ain't been watching since the episode with Dr. Pershing because
Yeah, you really haven't missed much. I mean, there's been some cool stuff. This last episode was the best episode of the season, but it still had its problems and stuff that didn't make sense. But just from just a fun episode, it was the best one of the season.
Of course. So, with these specific 5 episodes we're talking about tonight, I just want to get your thoughts on them, starting, of course, with the big 3-parter that opened the season. What did you think of these?
God, I'm trying to remember what they were. It's been a while since I've watched the first 3. I know Picard's in it. I like that, the kind of crossover, kicking off DS9 with Picard being there. Was Picard in that one?
No, that was the first season episode.
Oh, this is season
is the
2.
one. Yeah, so this is
season 2. Okay.
Yep.
I thought you were season 1. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so this is the one where Kira rescues the one Bajoran war hero, and there's the terrorist group that they have to take down that Kai Wynn's involved with.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, that one was okay. The thing is, the first 2 seasons, other than maybe a episode or 2, are kind of forgettable. It doesn't really start picking up until the last episode of season 2, going into season 3, and then when you get to the beginning of season 4. Man, it is full steam ahead with that show.
Okay.
So the first 2 seasons, honestly, are kind of hard for me to get through. I really love season 3 starts picking up, and then season 4 and 5, man, top notch, chef's kiss.
Nice.
So just wait till you get there. You'll love it.
I will. And of course, hello to Salty Traveling Sea. Thanks for joining. I said earlier, though, about specifically this 3-parter, what I liked about it was it shows that, Bajor they're a year out now from having the Cardassians leave, and they're independent again with the help of the Federation, yet they're still in a very fragile political state. If this terrorist group is able to grow and pretty much almost take complete power and kick the Federation out.
Yeah, there's a lot of political stuff. Even later on, there's a lot of politics involved with Bajor. So some of the stuff that the leaders and stuff do there are just like head scratching. Like you'll see several episodes like later on a lot of political side stuff with Bajor, to where it's just like, oh, geez, why is the Federation even dealing with these people? But
or why is the Prime Directive a thing? Because if it wasn't, it would be super easy to solve these problems.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, they kind of let them do their own thing, but their own thing's kind of weird and sometimes doesn't make sense. And there's people that are like that get jealous and have a lot of ego and pride and want power. And so yeah, there's definitely a big political aspect with the whole Bajor arc of the series,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not a huge fan of, but it plays in, especially when you get to the last like 3 episodes of the series.
Yeah.
All that stuff kind of comes full circle. And but yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of a lot of the Bajor stuff.
And speaking of that, isn't Kai Wynn just the biggest slime ball ever?
Oh yeah, she's the worst, man. But there's I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but uh something cool happens with her later on. I'll just
Okay.
leave it at that. Well, I don't know if I'd say something cool, but something happens with her later on in the series where you're like, yes, finally.
Nice. The next episode is Invasive Procedures, the one where that one Trill dude steals the Dax symbiote from out of Jadzia and tries to
Oh
take it
yeah,
for his own.
I remember that one because Coach was when he watched that, he was like, "Oh God, that freaking looks like lasagna or something."
It kind of did, or like a baseball that had been really bad chewed up by like a Saint Bernard or something.
Yeah. The symbiotes for the trills is pretty gross, and the whole process of putting it in and all
Oh
that.
my goodness.
But yeah, the that that episode was a pretty fun episode. Even though that the whole symbiote stuff was kind of gross.
Yeah, it was. And that one I really enjoyed because we got to learn just that little bit more about about what it about Trill Society and what it takes to become a joined Trill. And the one thing that I wish they explained a little bit more is why Varad was rejected from being joined to the Dax symbiote, and it went to Jadzia instead. Like, I tried to look it up and I couldn't even find it.
Yeah, I don't think they really give an explanation, but the requirements are like very high. It's almost like getting into Harvard, or something
Right.
like that. Like your health, your blood type, your family history, your um, mental state, like all that stuff is like it's got to be top notch for you to get picked. And you found out that he's basically a psycho, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably why he didn't get picked, because they
Yeah.
probably picked up on that in their research on if he was worthy of you know being a host or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked how the actor that played Varad showed that, where once he's joined, yes, you can tell that Dax is taking him over, for lack of a better term, and yet he still comes across as someone with something kind of sinister to him.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these episodes in these first 2 seasons is a lot of world building and character development, and you learn a lot
Mm-hmm.
of that kind of stuff that's really cool. Gives you a lot of the backstory. You learn what kind of people these are, which is going to play big into later on in the series. A
Yes.
lot of themes and a lot of things that they hit on later are going to be very emotionally impactful because of all this world building and character development that they're doing in these first 2 seasons. And Jadzia, man, she's hot. and I really like her.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite characters in there. But something happens. I'm not going to spoil anything, but something crazy happens with her. Oh, do you? Oh, don't say it.
I already know.
If Coach is in here, don't say it.
All right. But yeah, that was a great episode. And then the last one we're talking about tonight, Cardassians, the one where you have the Cardassian boy that was raised by Bajorans. His dad's trying to get him back, and he
hates Cardassians and wishes he was Bajoran.
Mm-hmm. And come to find out, it was Gul Dukat making a political power move the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, that was a fun episode too. Gul Dukat, he is a snake in the grass. And other times he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like anytime
I think he's on to us.
Anytime something goes on with him and you're like, okay, he's actually not such a bad guy. No. He comes right back and does something sinister or something. And so yeah, Gul Dukat, he's a great character.
What is this, Coach?
He's probably half asleep. He's probably sitting in bed.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say to this.
He gets weird when he gets tired.
I am the Star Trek commander. Okay.
Garrick, he was in this episode too, right?
Yes, and he was amazing, especially his interactions with Bashir.
Yeah, he turns out to be, like I said earlier, plays a very big role in the show. Mm-hmm. I think this was the first time that you saw him again since season 1, actually.
Yeah, that one episode where he helps uncover that plot that the Duras sisters were doing.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, like I said, later on he ends up becoming like a permanent character on the show.
Okay.
But and so do a couple other characters. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it's almost like when they were doing the show, they're like, let's see how people react to these characters. Let's see if they like them, don't like them, that sort of thing. And Garrick is definitely one of the characters that's very well received by the DS9 Star Trek community.
Nice. Well, that's pretty much all that I can think of to talk about with these episodes.
This was the first 5, right? Of season 2?
The first 5 of season 2. What episode are you on right now with Coach in season 2?
So, we are season 2. I think we just finished 14 and 15, or maybe it was 15 and 16. Okay, I don't know. We're in the mid to late teens of the episodes. But basically, I told him just binge watch all the way up to the last episode, or actually, because there's another one that's going to be good to record, an episode called Blood Oath in season 2. But I can't remember what. 19. It's 19. So when he gets to 19, we might record that one, and then have him just talk about the episodes previous. Any takeaways from those other episodes, and then after 19, when we do episode 26, which is the Jem'Hadar episode, I'll just have him just talk on any takeaways he got from all the episodes in between that, because that's actually a really good episode in season 2. And then after that, we'll do season 3, which we will start putting on the main channel instead of the Echo Base Entertainment channel. And
Okay.
like I said, we're just going to do the Dominion War binge viewing experience, and he'll watch the other ones on his own. So out of season 3, out of the 26 episodes, we're only going to record 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11
Okay.
episodes. So, and then season 4, oh man, I can't wait for Coach to see the first 2 episodes of season 4. You'll really like the first 2 of season 4 too.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
They are two of the best episodes of the entire series. The first 2 episodes of season 4.
I'm looking at them now. Oh yeah, without spoiling anything, I see one dude in like the thumbnail for episode 1 listed here on Prime. I'm gonna be interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah, it's a 2-parter. The first 2 episodes of season 4 is a 2-parter, and man, it is freaking awesome.
Nice. Resolute Rebellion says Garrick was a great character in the series. The actor brought life to a character that wasn't originally supposed to be long term.
Yeah, he was so well received, and he did such a good job. They basically end up making him a permanent character on the show. And I'm glad they did, because he plays a huge role later on in the series. And it's funny because if like when I started watching this with Coach, Quark's brother was just sort of like kind of like almost sort of like Quark, but then later on, Quark's brother completely changed to where he's sort of like the bumbling idiot. But
yeah, that's kind of where it is right now with him.
Yeah, but he didn't start off being that way. I don't know why the showrunners decided to change his character, maybe just to make it more entertaining and give some comedic relief to the show. I'm not really sure, but God, what's Quark's brother's name?
Rom, I believe.
No, that's his brother's son's name. Jake's friend.
Nog, you mean?
Oh yeah, that's Nog. Yeah, it is Rom. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly I didn't even notice the character change. I just kind of thought that's how he had. Actually, no, I take it back. I do know when he first became like that. It was the episode in season 1. Where is it called? The Nagus, the one where Quark temporarily becomes president of all the Ferengi people.
Oh yeah. I remember that. But yeah, when I first watched it, I was like, man, this is not Quark's brother. This is like a completely different character.
Right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Any final thoughts you want to share, Nick, before we get out of here?
Man, just stick with it, because it is huge payoff, and there's so much nostalgia in later episodes and later seasons. Like I said, it's the best Trek ever.
Awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I do have something that I do want to talk to you about after the stream. But in the meantime, for you guys watching, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're still going to do that Persona 5 Royal Gaming stream. Just give me about 5 minutes. But in the meantime, the Force is family. And make sure to go subscribe to Coach and Nick over at Echo Base Network. They do amazing Star Wars videos and discussions every Saturday night live. And of course, a myriad amount of recorded videos all throughout the week. So go subscribe to them, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.